Hello. It's an open rant to Cecilia Malmström. I'm going to probably get a lot of swearing in this. Anyway, let's talk about something that is leaked onto the interwebs, the internet. This is a leak that I found on my Google Plus feed, and let's read this, shall we? I have not read the leaked document. If you want to read the leaked document, it's here. It's on right here. So, anyway, let's continue. This is directed at people who are currently working with the TTIP, the Transatlantic Trade and Partnership investigation. The trade deal with the US, between the EU and the US, and it's basically what I was talking about in my last video was the need to protect the internet. And here's a list of things that should not and absolutely must not be in the trade deal with the US. Compel SIPs to take down websites without any sort of court order, just like SOPA. We threw out SOPA, so we don't need it. Next. I can't stress how important this is, because this would basically censor the internet, and we don't want to censor the internet. I don't care about copyright. Free speech trumps your damn copyright. Next point. Extend the US copyright regime to require copyrights to stand for lifetime plus 70 years, preventing anyone from using the works that belong in the public domain. This is something that is very important. In the EU, or most European countries, the copyright extends lifetime plus 50 years. In the US, it's lifetime plus however long Disney wants the copyright to be extended to. Right now, it's 70 years. It's all the revisions to the copyright system, or the copyright ruling in the US basically goes like this: that Disney wants don't want their characters to be used by anyone else but them, and they want to extend the copyright law, and they give it a cool name, and suddenly it's next time it's going to be 80 years, next time it's going to be 90 years. This is not happening. Please don't. If you ask me, copyright should be extended not to lifetime plus years. It should be a set amount of years, like 70 years or 50 years. Preferably shorter than 50 years, but that's another question from another time. Criminalize whistleblowing by extending trade secret laws without mandatory exemptions for whistleblowers or investigative journalists. This is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. How the fucking hell can anyone be so stupid to even include something like this in a trade deal? This would prevent any journalist from doing their job. If you are to talk about a company, you may need a whistleblower on the inside. And with rules like these, you would make that fucking impossible. Even I don't know if this doesn't say anything about extending the to the investigative journalist that leaked the information, but it presumably does. This is just stupid. I hope that this does not make it into the transatlantic trade and investment partnership thingy. End era of anonymity online by forcing every domain name to be associated with a real name and address. QQC12. Listen, I understand why people want this, but the problem is you can't do this. It would undermine how the internet works. The internet works by this. It's a series of tubes that gives us cats on the screens. No, you can't do this because how would you enforce this? I can type in any name I want. The DNS system. In Sweden we had the name of the owner of the Pirate Bay domain was Henrik Pontén, the anti-pirate guy, for a long time, and no one even noticed because the information in the DNS information, it's not relevant really. You can change that with the DNS provider. It's just, and forcing the DNS to be associated with a name, I don't think that will solve anything. It would prevent anonymity online and prevent people from expressing themselves, because you don't want to live in a world where people are afraid to give the opinion. Something like this, where you prevent people from being anonymous online. You're preventing people from expressing themselves. You're preventing people from being open, like I am now. Make it illegal to unlock, modify, or generally tinker with your device, with a device you own. QQG10. Again, why would this even be in here? This prevents security workers, people who work in security, to prevent disasters. It would prevent people from unlocking the phones and installing a new firmware update, because there hasn't been a firmware update for the phone for, I don't know, a year, 2 years. If you can't root your phone, you can't modify your phone, unlock your phone, or any device really, you're preventing people from using the device, and you just create a lot of waste. And I think if we're going to talk environmentally, you should make it legal. You should make it mandatory that devices should be able to be unlocked after a set amount of time. Because as it is now, making phones hard to unlock hasn't really solved anything. It's just made security much, much worse. Because many ROMs that are out there are rogue ROMs that have crappy security, bad security policies in place, they're poorly configured and whatnot. It's just not funny. Or even, I know it's really should probably be on us consumers to buy phones that have long support. I don't know. This is probably the last Samsung phone I'm going to buy anyway. I'm going to buy a Google phone next time. Export the US broken copyright policies to the rest of the world without expanding any of the free speech protections like fair use. There's a problem in the EU that we don't have any sort of protection from copyright. In the US, there is fair use. Fair use means that the politician can use a soundtrack in a fair way. You can use the music if you don't make money out of it. And if you are using it in educational purposes and etc., 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 we don't have it in Europe. That is problematic. Many people think we have fair use, but we don't. By not having fair use protection, we are hampering innovation. We're hampering the spread of culture. If you know me, I like my culture, but I like it at an arm's distance. I'm not so fond of the new Swedish currency. Just lots of culture people, basically entertainers from the last century that no one really remembers anymore. Anyway, if we're going to export the US broken copyright policies to the rest of the world, we must include fair use. In the US, you have fair use and you have safe harbor extension to the DMCA. We don't have anything like that in Europe. We must have safe harbors on the internet. Safe harbors where people can upload things and the site owner doesn't have to suffer the consequences of what the person in question uploads. And we need fair use where people can use works without asking permission, as it is if it is in a fair manner. If you ask me, personally, I think the fair manner of copyright would be shortening copyright to 50 years or less, preferably, and not have the lifetime extension. This, because we have, if you remember when the copyright law thingy was the extension of copyright in the US, there was a guy, he works for was the owner, I think. I don't remember really the story, but it was someone who owned a film studio. Take this with a pinch of salt, because I may be remembering wrongly here. He had a film collection that he wanted to digitalize, but he couldn't. And he had lost copies of these films because of the US copyright law. Because these were silver nitrate film. And silver nitrate film crumbles to dust after a while. And he couldn't save these because he pleaded to not extend copyright law to prevent these masterpieces. I don't know if he said masterpieces, but these films to be saved. He wanted to save them, to prevent them from going to dust without being saved for the future. I mean, look at Metropolis. Metropolis is one of those masterpieces that I think that everyone should see. And yet, due to copyright, if people had been concerned about copyright, we wouldn't have that film now. That film was saved because of people ignoring copyright. Think about it. And of course, not all film is saved, because there are lots and lots of chunks of film that is missing. But that's another story. If you want to create a better world, Cecilia, or Mrs. Malmström, you should really start talking to the technocrats, the people who are the white hats, the black hats, the so-called criminals that try to save you from yourself, save you from your own stupidity. I mean, if there's even been concerns that many of these trade deals would prevent people who actually work in security, as I was telling before, actually doing the job, where you can't expose, not even through a what is it? um, oh, the public publications of security bugs. You have the 0-day project at Google, or what's it called, where they publish bugs and stuff like that after is it 3 months or something, and the company has to fix it in 3 months, or the bug will be published, and people will own other people's boxes. Microsoft was hit by this, and they were angry, but as said, you had 3 months. 3 fucking months you could have done something. And they were not notified, they even acknowledged, but they didn't fix it. And then they scrambled 1 week after the bug was published. Anyway, how would systems like that work in if you can't work, if there is the criminalization of whistleblowing, or even tampering with unlocking devices, you can't find these bugs. You can't make. You will basically make everything a fest of. You will make it easy for black hats, the evil guys, to screw with people, and no one would know. No one would know. Save the internet. Do not have these clause. Do not have any of these. These are... remove them. If you have anything like this, just remove them. That's all I wanted to say today. If you have any questions, post them down below. My name has been Guy Gozaran. Today is 2015 10/17. Have a good one.